And let's begin with a question that many educators are reflecting on today. How can we truly equip students for the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead? For many years, academic achievement was seen as the primary indicator of preparedness. Today, however, success also depends on qualities such as critical thinking, adaptability, digital fluency, and the confidence to navigate an ever-evolving world. These ideas bring us to our first session, the changing definition of college readiness in a digital world. Joining us as our experts to share their perspectives on how learning environments and teaching approaches can evolve to support these evolving expectations and help students succeed beyond the classroom. Let's help welcome our moderator. We have Doctora Sandra Villarreal Montgomery, the CEO of Mont Education Consulting, LLC, and our panelists are Dr. Sonya S. Gaither, the Dean of Libraries at Clayton State University, Dr. John Oelke, the Director of Faculty Development and Engagement at National Louis University, Dr. Johann Sievering, the board member of Swiss Informatics Society SI, and Amanda Shannon, the founder and creator of a new human potential and human capacity training. Please give them a warm round of applause.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody. We are very excited to have our beautifully diverse and creative panel today. I will have, even though we had an introduction, I will have our panel do a brief introduction so that you know a little bit more about what it is we do. So my name is Doctora Sandra Villarreal Montgomery. I am a educator that does whole learner strategies, and my doctorate is in bilingual ed, hence the Doctora. Loving a multicultural world. And so we will also start now with our introductions. First with Dr. Johann Sievering.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Johann Sievering. I hold a PhD in computer science. I am a teacher and researcher in education in Geneva, Switzerland. And I'm also a member of Swiss Informatics Society, where I lead a special group, AI for Ed. Over the past few years, I have been developing and coordinating initiatives that brings AI into real classroom practice through workshops, teacher communities, and co-creation of new educational tools and applications. My focus is not only on the technology itself, but its impact on learners, on teaching practices, and how we redefine the skill of expect from study today. I'm very pleased to contribute to this discussion.
Thank you so much. Dr. Sonya Gaither.
Good morning, everyone. I am the Dean of Libraries at Gordon State College and Clayton State University, two institutions within the university system of Georgia that consist of 25 institutions. I'll tell you a little bit more about those institutions when we get into the panel discussion, but I have 31 years of experience in the USG, and currently I have served in the Dean or Director's role for the last 12 years. I am also an entrepreneur with my own business, Dr. Sanithia's Helping Hands LLC, that also works with K-12 and higher education students, teachers, and parents to help with information literacy as well. And I'm glad to be here, so thank you.
Lovely, thank you. And Dr. John Oelke.
Hi, Dr. Oelke. I'm the Director of Faculty Development at National Louis University. A big part of my job is helping faculty be better faculty. So we have a teaching college at our university. We're well known for that. But there's also people who come from different fields. So it's the psychology professionals, the business professionals who maybe haven't had kind of the training in pedagogy, and I help them kind of acquire that pedagogical perspective. But the last probably 4 or 5 years have been really focused on helping them learn about AI and integrating AI into the classroom, as Dr. Johann said. So that's what I've been doing. In addition, I help manage an addiction treatment center down in New Orleans, and have done some consultings. I've done improv for over 20 years, performed and coached improv for 20 years, so make that a big part of my coaching and my training. It's a lot of fun. Thank you.
And I can definitely see the need for that in education.
Yeah.
All right, and our fifth panelist participant today, I'm going to let her introduce herself and do a little activity with us.
Hi everyone, my name is Samantha Shannon. I work with corporations, teams, and individuals to offer human capacity training. In the past, it was high performance training, but now with all of the advances with AI, with the changes that are happening, I'm working a lot with the nervous system and training individuals to be able to stay steady in the storm, to be able to hold the presence of a room, to be able to share that same stability. To share that same stability with your teammates, with your company, and with your families, and on into your communities. Because the leaders are they are the anchor for their communities. So I thought it would be fun if I just showed you a little exercise. It's very simple. All of our techniques are based on 30 years of science with HeartMath. And it is something that will help you to reset your baseline and to take you out of any kind of fight or flight and allow more cognitive flow, more imagination, and more interconnection so that you have more presence for the rest of your day. So it's a very easy technique that you can use every day. I'm going in and out, I apologize. It's called heart-focused breathing. And so it's very simple. You can have your eyes open or closed, but the way that we train it is that it's meant to be for you to use all times, right? So I do it when I'm standing in line at the grocery store. I do it any other time. And when I'm getting on a call, that's going to be difficult. So it's real simple. You can put your hand at your heart if you want, but it draws your attention there. And where you can, again, eyes open or closed. And I'm just going to lead you through it. So focus your attention to the area of your heart. And just begin to breathe a little bit deeper and a little bit slower than you normally would. Breathing in through your nose for the count of 4 or 5. And exhaling for the same measure, 4 or 5. Take another deep breath in. Let your shoulders relax, your jaw soften. Breathing out. One more. And you can open your eyes. Feel a little bit more relaxed, grounded.
I do. Okay.
And that's how you can change your heart rate variability. You can change your baseline. And I believe that, by being the anchor for our communities, our organizations, we can help keep things calm as things escalate.
I love that so much because some of us get a little nervous before we go public speaking, and especially if it's going to be recorded. And we also have the energy from traveling and other things. So thank you very much. All right, beautiful. So now we're in a beautiful, calm place. I am going to start our questions, our information, with Dr. Johann Sievering, sharing a little bit about a specific thing. I have a question for him. Also, he's with the Swiss Informative Society. I want to ask him, how can schools move from regulating AI use to effectively preparing students and teachers for an AI-integrated academic and professional future?
Thank you for your question. Let me start with a simple hypothesis. AI is not changing what students know. It is changing how they learn, how they think, and how they act. And this is true, then colleague readiness must change as well. Today, many education systems are doing something very important. They are writing guidelines, policies, frameworks. This is necessary, but it's not sufficient. The real challenge is putting them into practice. In Geneva, we had IT guidelines. They were about tools, access, and usage. In 2024, we introduced AI guidelines for students and teachers. They focus on awareness, bias, reliability, responsible use. But today, in 2026, the real question is no longer how do we regulate AI. The real question is what does it mean by ready in a world where knowledge is generated. There are hypotheses about how learning should work in the age of AI. And when we bring those hypotheses into real classrooms with students and teachers, we sometimes discover they are incomplete. One example, we wrote guidelines assuming teachers understood how AI actually works. In fact, many did not. When we bring AI into classroom, two realities appear immediately. First, students use AI massively, sometimes to explore and learn, but very often to take shortcuts. They generate text without understanding them. They delegate thinking instead of developing it. Second, teachers face challenges because they are themselves in learning phase. So we have a tension between what we intend and what actually happens. We must not only train students, we should train the entire education system. Now, what is interesting is that our documents, our guidelines, are not just rules. They reveal something deeper. For students, we explain that AI does not provide truth. It produces plausible answers. Knowledge is no longer something you access. It's something it is generated. This is change everything. For teachers, another question arises. What should be delegated to AI and what should not? As you can see, the challenge is not only technological, but it is also educational. If we look at college readiness in this context, we must ask, what does it mean to be ready when AI can generate knowledge in an instant? It means three things. First, cognitive readiness. Students must learn to question, verify, and think critically. Second, operational readiness. They must be able to use AI to explore, create, and learn, not just to produce answers. Third, ethical readiness. They must understand responsibly, transparently, and limits. From our experience, several projects emerge. In our school, we have created space where teachers can experiment and share practices. We call them AI lunch coffee. 1 hour, one topic, one coffee. And for the students, we have developed an application that guides them to learn prompting using and understanding AI. We call it Prompt Studio. Let's come back to the hypothesis I start with. AI is not just a new tool. It's a new learning context. Preparation for college is not longer defined uniquely by what students have to learn, but also by their ability to think critically, to develop AI skills, and to act responsibly. We must keep in mind transition from AI regulation to preparation required training for everyone involved in education.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, now we have Dr. Sonya Gaither. I have a question for you.
Okay.
From your perspective in higher education administration and academic libraries, how are today's college students adjusting to AI-driven learning environments? And how can institutions better support their transition to career readiness in this new digital landscape?
Thank you so much. Today's college students are navigating an academic world where AI is woven into nearly every part of the learning experience. What we're seeing is that students are adjusting, but not evenly. Some may arrive with strong AI fluency, while others may have had little exposure. That unevenness is becoming a new dimension of college readiness. Before continuing, I would like to provide some insight into the institutions where I work. One institution is in a small rural town south of Atlanta, Georgia. It is a state college that provides associate and bachelor's degrees with an enrollment of 3,100 students. While it is a residential campus, a large number of students are commuters, and over half take classes online. The second institution is in Metro Atlanta that serves almost 6,000 students, most of which are commuters, but residential housing is also available. Programs offered include associates, bachelor's, and master's, and both offer classes face-to-face and online. From a higher education administration perspective, this means institutions must be intentional about supporting students as they learn to use AI responsibly and effectively. We need clear policies, transparent expectations, and curriculum that teaches students how to collaborate with AI and not rely on it blindly or wholeheartedly and not fear it. Students need to understand when AI is appropriate, how to evaluate AI-generated information, and how to maintain academic integrity in an AI-rich environment. For example, our university system consists of 25 public institutions, and each was asked in the last year to develop an institution-wide policy appropriate for their students and faculty and staff based on guidance that was provided by the board. These policies include guidelines of when and how students can use AI in the classroom, including a red, yellow, green light model that explains what is acceptable in an instructor's classroom. The policy also includes information on the recommended AI tools that may be used and tells students and faculty and staff that training resources and workshops will be available to help them learn more about and teach them how to use AI more effectively. From the academic library perspective, we're seeing a shift in the types of literacy students need. Libraries have always been centers of information access, but now we're also centers of algorithmic literacy. Some students want to know, can I trust this output? How do I verify it? Why did the tool give me this answer? Libraries are uniquely positioned to teach students how to navigate these questions because we've always had them make sense of complex information ecosystems. Similarly to the instructional faculty, as librarians at my institutions, we are beginning to learn more about AI and how to include it in our information literacy sessions, although there are a lot of other libraries in our systems that are way ahead of the game. We have not determined how to incorporate AI into our daily processes, but a few of us have used it for conducting research as we learn how to build appropriate prompts that will assist us when working with students. We also have to learn about the different AI tools available, especially those automatically built into the vendor databases. As a dean of libraries, I am constantly seeking professional development opportunities for my staff and myself to help us learn more so we can continue to be impactful when assisting students with AI as they maneuver through their research journey. But the conversation can't stop at college readiness. We also must think about career readiness. Employers increasingly expect graduates to be able to use AI tools to analyze data, communicate effectively, solve problems, and collaborate across digital platforms. That means institutions must build AI literacy across the curriculum, not just in computer science, but in business, the arts, health sciences, and the humanities. This is a shared responsibility across the entire educational ecosystem. For example, entrepreneurs are building the tools that shape how students learn and work. Administrators are creating the structure that ensure AI is used ethically and equitably. Teachers and faculty are modeling how AI can enhance inquiry, creativity, and problem solving. Librarians are guiding students through increasingly complex information landscapes, And policymakers are ensuring that access to AI-enabled learning is not determined by geography or income. As an example, institutions are also revising and creating courses that include AI as part of the curriculum. Instructional faculty are participating in professional development activities such as receiving AI certificates to utilize what they have learned in the classroom. These such strategies are being passed along to the students to also prepare them in their careers. If we want students to transition successfully from college to career, we must give them opportunities to practice using AI thoughtfully, ethically, and creatively, not just in one class, but across their entire educational journey. Ultimately, preparing students for an AI-driven world isn't about teaching them to master a specific tool. Tools will change. It's about cultivating adaptable, critical, and confident leaders who can thrive in environments where AI is part of the conversation, in the classroom and in the workplace.
Thank you, that was lovely. And I hadn't even explored with what that means to our research base that we're accessing, like our credible research bases within the library. So I'm so glad you gave us a great deal of insight. That was super helpful. Okay, we have Dr. John Oelke. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Through the lens of faculty development, what can faculty be doing to initiate conversations and build AI capacity with students?
Thank you. Yeah, I could talk about this for more than 5 minutes for sure. So I think the first thing we can be doing is communicating early and often. If I talk to someone at a school, whether it's a high school, whether it's a college, wherever they are, right? What I find is that what they're struggling with is that not everyone's on the same page. How do we get everyone on the same page? There's a question. No, it's okay. We ask the questions, right? So when you see students coming in to the classroom, they're a bit tentative. They're a bit like, oh, can I use AI? Is that even allowed? How do I use it? And they're too afraid to ask because what if I can't use it because I've been using it, this way before? And so there's a great deal of hesitation. And then the faculty are like, I bet these students are using AI. How will I ever know? And my first question is, did you ask them, right? So at the center of culturally responsive pedagogy, right, is student-centered approach. And what does that look like? It's asking them, how do you want to use AI in this class, right? Start there. And if they come back and they say, well, I'd like to use it to brainstorm, I'd like to use it to generate an outline for a paper, and if you don't have a problem with that, fine. Then do that. And you may have your own kind of line in the sand, right? If I don't want a student using AI on a discussion board because I want that to be your own personal experiences and your connection to the content, fine, tell them that. But you're having a conversation about it, and you're having it day one. If you try to have the conversation of, hey, I think you used AI on this assignment, tell me about that. And they're like, yeah, I use AI on this. And if you didn't have that conversation day one, how can you go back and be like, you can't do that? They're like, you didn't say that, and this professor said I can use it, right? And I think, part of the challenge that a lot of universities and high school, everybody is having with AI policy is that different people want to use it in different ways, right? Writing a lesson plan with AI is very different than writing a business plan with AI. And I think we need to kind of allow the colleges or departments to have a little bit of leeway there. I love the green, yellow, red system. I've heard that, and different colleges, different faculty within those colleges are going to have kind of different expectations among students. And as long as they're communicating those with students, so students know when I walk into this room, these are the clear expectations I have with this faculty member, they're going to be in a better place. And when we talk about college readiness or career readiness, right, I think the biggest thing that people learn in high school and they start to learn as they get into a job, their first job, is that, oh, this boss has different expectations than my parents. Right? And then I leave that job and I go to another job, and the tools and the ways that I was successful in this past job isn't necessarily the same as it is in this new job. Every employer will have different expectations. And I think the way that we can start to communicate that with students, because they understand that conceptually, maybe they haven't explicitly said it yet, but at the end of the day, when they go into their, if they go into their classroom and say, hey, you're in this program, you may have 3 classes in this program this term, and all 3 faculty may have different expectations. Let's talk about our expectations in this classroom, right? It immediately sets the tone of I need to juggle those expectations and I need to be adaptable, right? So that's, I think, college readiness skill number 1, but also career readiness skill number 1. And if we're looking at kind of AI, college readiness, career readiness, I think the answer to both is AI readiness. And we looked at our academic integrity policy, and we were going to write one for AI, and then we read through our academic integrity policy, and we didn't really see much that needed to change. Right? Are you submitting your own work? Is it unique to you? Is it your own ideas? It's at the heart of every academic integrity policy. And when you introduce AI into that, okay, there's another author there, but you're not getting it from some random person on the internet. You're not taking your neighbor's paper and writing down some of their ideas. You generate entire concepts. How are you making it your own? How are you taking that and building off of it? And I think that's kind of the message that we can send to students. And we're looking at kind of 2 things. I think these are the college and career readiness skill is AI critical thinking. If we can get students critically thinking about AI, and here's an example. Who's heard of Wikipedia? Remember when Wikipedia came out? That's going to ruin education, right? Those people are, I don't know, I don't know why they were typing it, but you get the idea, right? This is going to ruin education. People can just copy this and paste it, and people did. And then they realized, like, oh, wait, any person, any 5th grader in Arkansas can talk about molecular physics, and it's not right? So what you learned pretty quickly is, like, I can't really trust Wikipedia. And as we start to use AI, we'll start to have that same kind of, like, that, I don't know if zeitgeist is the right word, but we'll have the same kind of common knowledge. And if you scroll down to the bottom of any output in AI, it even says AI can make mistakes, check for facts, right? I think that's an awesome, if you're in a high school, have students do this. Put in something into ChatGPT or Claude or your favorite AI chatbot, and then have them go and verify it, fact check it. That is AI critical thinking, right? Simple skill that we can scaffold, we can practice, right? And so critical thinking is not only on the outputs, though, it's the inputs. Are we putting protected information in there? What kind of sensitive, like, students will be like, oh, I uploaded my resume into AI and it was great. And I was like, did you take your address out? Did you take your phone number? They're like, no. And I'm like, okay, let's start doing that, right? Those are the kinds of protected information that we may be exposing to the internet and to these chatbot algorithms without kind of thinking about it. So what we're putting into it and what we're getting out of it need to be critically analyzed. And if we can even just walk into college with that skill, I think we're at least somewhat ready from a technological standpoint. And in terms of career, I think the more that we can expose students to these tools in college with us there as a facilitator, as a guide, as someone who can kind of make sure that they're looking at this with that critically analytic lens, the better they're going to be. And I gave an example to Amanda earlier, we were chatting. If we're looking at 2 different applicants, and one applicant is well versed in Jasper, right? This is an applicant for a marketing gig, and we're hiring 2 social media managers. We're not hiring 5 anymore. We're hiring 2. And one person is well versed in Jasper and the other one isn't. Does anyone know what Jasper is? Yeah, I got a couple of people, right? So it's a marketing, it's an AI specifically built for marketing. It'll scan your web page, it'll read your brand, read your tone, and it'll actually write blogs and social media posts, things like that for you, right? I'm going to hire that person. I'm sorry. I am. I'm hiring the person who can use that tool because I'm only hiring 2 instead of 5 because I'm expecting that applicant to be able to leverage AI to do more from their work. That's the reality that they're walking into. They need to be ready for it. So I've probably gone over 5 minutes. I thank you, but I could go on forever. Thank you.
I think we're doing okay right now.
Okay.
I have one thing to add on my standpoint. I prepare students. I'm at the student and parent level for preparing for college and career. So I am focusing a lot on AI because I want the students to know, as the high school instructors are still navigating what's going to happen, and then dependent on their college because they're going all over the world, definitely over the US, but all over the world, and it can vary classroom to classroom. And I have a red light, green light, yellow light thing too, whereas we're not going to copy and paste. If it's something that you could ask an adult, like a parent or a teacher, to help you with, then that's usually a safe kind of guideline thing. So I just thought it was interesting as I'm preparing the students and parents for this, and then we have the faculty level and then the research level, and same kind of thing. I know that Wikipedia was not ever allowed on any of my research papers. So I like that you use that example. Okay, Amanda, we'd love your take on what you'd like to share.
So one of the things I'm hearing is critical skills that are important are adaptability, being flexible, being able to flow with change. And one other thing I think is really important is discernment. And that's why I feel that it's really important for us to, as parents, as leaders, as teachers, to be able to hold the presence of stability and to give tools to our kids on how to find that inner discernment over what's right, what isn't. How do I connect with, not only through AI, but with my teammates, with my classmates, because communication is something that's going to be really valuable as we move forward, not just being given to you. So just being able to maintain their own sovereignty, their own authorship over what they create. And I think AI is a beautiful tool to be able to explore your passions and your creativity in ways that I don't think any of us can really understand now, because we don't have lived experience of what our future is going to be. And I think that that's why I'm offering human capacity training, because I feel that our nervous system is built for survival, and it's all on predictive outcomes, right? So if we don't have that predictive outcome to manage our nervous system, we have to create it. And so that's why I think it's so valuable, because that gives you the ability to have adaptability, to flow. And I work with a lot of neurodiverse individuals with autism. I have a foundation with that. And, being able to take in all of the sensory input that's coming in 24/7, being able to stop when you need to stop, to reset. These are really important skills. They're life skills. But, it's our own inner technology that I feel we need to master so that we can then use AI as a tool and not let it master us.
That is beautiful, and I think that is like a quote on there. Use it as a tool and not let it master us. That is so true. And then I will say, too, that as I've been exploring, there's a social emotional element to all this in the learning process, in our student readiness, and their readiness for the future, that we as educators, as parents, as community members, as leaders need to be aware that it's not just those computational skills that we're really wanting to focus on, but their mental health, their safety. All those things are very important to what we want to do as our leaders. So it's a whole view. And then you get into factors of neurodiversity, exceptionality, multilingualism, especially imagine if this is new and you're coming at that information's coming in from with another language happening. So there's so many variables to consider in that process. Well, thank you, our beautiful panel, and I think we might have a couple of minutes for questions. I'm going to say we do. Do we have any questions from our audience? Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Oh, a mic's coming to you.
This is so people online can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you. Really just wanted to kind of reflect on Dr. Is it Oelke?
Yeah.
Did I pronounce that right? Reflect on your thoughts on communication and having the right conversations up front. So many educators are seeing AI as cheating. And your point about Wikipedia is spot on. I go back to, and I'm going to date myself here, the movie Animal House, where they all snuck in and stole the exam from the dumpster, and they stole the wrong exam,
right,
et cetera, et cetera. Cheating has been around forever, right, in everything. So we have to understand that new technology, new tools, new insights, et cetera, are, there's going to be some who use them for good, some that use them for bad, right? We have to have the conversations about discernment and critical thinking, et cetera, et cetera. So I really just wanted to reflect on your thoughts about having those conversations up front with students, with educators, with everyone involved to come up with what the common theme is, the common message, the common usage, discernment, et cetera, et cetera. So just wanted to reflect on that.
Yeah, thanks. I think a lot of faculty go to this place of how do I check to see if this is AI driven or AI written or created, and I think that's real tough. I think, you know, if you have a baseline of like discussion boards, for example, I think they're great because if you say, hey, we can use AI in different ways on different assignments, but in discussion boards we're not going to use them. There's no right answer. I want to hear your reaction to it. That frees them a little bit from like, I have to get the right answer. I have to make you happy as a faculty member. And so that you then get a read of their actual writing. And are there students who are going to just plug it into a chatbot and do that anyway? Yes, it's unavoidable. And I don't have a good answer for that, other than building relationships with that student and trying to get at it, right? I would caution away from AI detectors. Turnitin has an AI detector. They're biased. Do not use them. And when I say biased, I mean, yes, they will often flag non-native English speakers as generative AI, and that is not the case. I've had students say, I've never even heard of ChatGPT, and they were flagged for AI, right? So, and the accusation ruins that relationship, and that's why I said when you're revisiting that conversation later, if it's based on expectations, the expectations conversation that you had, you have, you know, an opportunity to just revisit the relationship conversation that you had at the beginning, as opposed to a really awkward conversation later. So, but I have if anyone's interested, I have a page. So when 2 months after AI came out, the ChatGPT came out, I had a web page up. And I've been building on that web page with resources in terms of having these conversations, in terms of like, what is AI, some of the, like, regardless of where you're at, you can get into it. So I'll generate a QR code, and if you just want to come up to me after, you can scan it. And it's more of a curated resource list, but anything on there you can use, take, borrow, cite if you want, but yeah, take it, so. Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have a couple of questions in the back, and while we're getting a mic over to them, right here first. I just want to point out a couple of words that I heard that I think are important here again with the social emotional and the preparation. What's right, what is good, what is bad is all being determined right now by our situation, right? The goal is to kind of make everybody happy in this process, but we also have a machine that's telling us whatever we want to. So that gets a little tricky. All right, yes, ma'am.
I, again, appreciate what you said about the critical thinking is super important, and I think there's documented science that the reliance upon AI is diminishing the students' ability to think critically. One of the things that I like to, and you spoke about this as well, is manage expectations. On the first day of class, I say, this is what it is and this is what it's not. And one of the things that I tell them is, I can't want your success more than you do. You have to be a partner with me. I will help you as much as I can, but I'm not doing all the heavy lifting. I've got my degree. I'm trying to help you get yours. And I can't want this for you more than you do. So in that sense, it's about striving for excellence, not perfection. And if we can get those types of mindsets to the students, even in high school, I'm not talking about entering college, it's a high school thing, middle school even, I would love. And so your thoughts on that perspective?
Well, I've been talking a lot, and I know mindset is kind of your.
Everybody's
happy.
thoughts.
Yeah, everyone's thoughts. I want if anyone wants to jump in on mindset. No, okay.
So, share with me how are you engaging mindset with your students currently?
When we meet, because I have a hybrid, so I teach via Zoom, and cameras on, and we're doing. I employ the VARC framework in my teaching, so visual, auditory, reading, kinesthetic.
Nice.
And so making sure that we're doing breakout sessions, making sure that I'm asking questions and I'm requiring that you respond. I'm not talking at you for 3 hours.
Right.
Making sure that when they do these breakout sessions, they come back and we debrief and what did you think? Where did you land? I even actually do AI activities where go to the AI, pick one, or I will tell them which one to go to, and then let's compare what the responses were. So it's that type of thing, if I'm answering your question.
Yeah, it did. So I was just curious if you would, maybe you can try it, see how it works for you. But one of the things that I do when I'm training in schools with teachers is to help the teachers get regulated first, and then they're holding the energetic, eye in that storm, right? So that they're holding that presence for everyone. If you get everybody on the same page and have them like, let's just check in real quick, get centered in our nervous system, they're going to have more availability for their cognitive thinking. They're going to have more creative flow. They're going to have more adaptability. It's kind of like, if anybody plays golf, when on your backswing, you have to pause before you come down. Or the professional basketball player, whatever, it's getting into that flow state. So when you have your nervous system regulated, it allows things to come through you that wouldn't otherwise be able to. So I think, especially on Zoom, if you get them to reset with you, it brings everybody back together. It's like it brings everything into a more cohesive state. I don't know why I keep having problems with my mic, so I apologize.
That's okay.
I know, I feel like I want to restate for you on some of the stuff. But I love that, and then
Go ahead.
And then I want to say, too, you said something very important, which was excellence over perfection.
Yes.
And I think somebody's excellence is going to look different in that. And so that I think, even elaborating on that I'm not looking for you to fill in these certain things because this is the formula.
Yeah.
We are looking for excellence. We're looking to see what is your best you that you're doing. And so that even supports what you were talking about on that. I think we only have 3 minutes.
Can I just add one quick thing?
Yes.
Just one quick thing to that?
Yeah.
Add one line to your assignments, like how does this connect to experiences you've had before? If you can directly access their experiences, their funds of knowledge, and give value to those, it will motivate them.
Or even better yet, a feeling that is
Oh,
tied
yeah.
to it, because our brain stores memories with feelings, and those are the most important and impactful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, in the back.
How much is collaboration with AI part of the conversation? Partnering with it, collaborating with it?
It's the whole conversation, right? Like we're thinking about how we're doing it, how we're thinking about kind of what ways to use AI are acceptable, and that collaboration with AI will look different for every assignment. And I think that's the message that we want to send to faculty and students, say like, hey, it's okay to have different expectations for different assignment types.
Thank you. And what's the name of your website?
It's nl.edu, but there's an AI page on there, specifically.
Awesome.
I am.
And then, I think we're all on LinkedIn too, so. Okay, yes, sir.
So if we think about back to the internet, when it first came out, everybody was afraid.
Yeah.
They all said, this isn't gonna work, and it's gonna be illegal, and why? Nobody wanted to learn it, but now there's not a business that runs without the internet and having websites. Well, that's the way AI is, right? Over 90% of companies are moving to AI. So what I want to hear about is how can we teach them more about using AI responsibly? Somebody said verify the information. I love that. But I think the skills that they need today are to learn all these different AIs and keep up with that technology, because there's no turning back the clock. AI has to be one of those skills that all kids need to know how to use. And what I see right now is, somebody mentioned, I see the kids that are just kind of frozen. They don't know what to do because they don't know what the different professors are expecting. So we need a clear vision as to what's allowed and what's not. And different universities are doing different things. So I'm just saying that we all have to get on the same page. And I want to ask the panel, what are they doing to help build a cohesiveness across universities and the students to be on the same page?
Yeah, we offered guidelines, and I think, that sounds like what other folks are doing too. We offered guidelines, but then we host kind of an hour-long session where you can come and I'll go to the department meetings, the college meetings, and talk about how it works for them. Here's the guidelines that we want to, kind of adopt AI in this way. How does that work for your college? And so by just having those conversations with them, they kind of, they trickle down to their departments and their courses in different ways, and we have to be okay with that. That's kind of what we've come to.
Right, I would agree with that. And also one of the things that our faculty are doing is that they are going out into the industries and talking to the businesses to find out what are you expecting from your new employers so that they can learn about what those expectations are so they can embed that into the curriculum and teach that to the students so you have that collaboration. And like you said, it's going to be different for every institution, every industry. And so that's part of that partnership and just keeping that conversation going.
And then I'll have to say one more time.
No, you go ahead, and then I'll go.
I think it's important if the students are frozen, it's because their nervous system is stuck. And if you get your nervous system regulated and you create a new baseline, that will give them the opportunity to participate in a completely different way. And you get different answers from AI when you're regulated and you're centered, as opposed to being in a state of panic. So I think it's important in that direction too.
And I think it's overwhelming is part of what I'm hearing too. It's overwhelming and doing. And in my case, as somebody who, like I said, is working with parents and students, I've created AI ethics courses to get the message out because so many parents kind of don't even know where to start. Same with the students, they're getting into that, and you're asking like 14, 15-year-olds, where are you going to go to college? What are you doing? And they're like, I don't even know how to do my like English assignments and what's okay and that's not things. So for me, I reach out to the community and I put it out because hopefully all of us as change makers, part of it is that people are searching for the information from us, but also I feel like in my case, it's my duty to reach out and to put that out there. So all this information, even today, I want to get out to as many people as possible so that they even kind of trigger what it is they should be asking, what it is they should want to know, and maybe have them reflective on something that they've never thought about before. That's another thing as well. So it's sometimes them searching for information, other times it's us reaching out to share what we know because they are overwhelmed and we don't even know what it is. They don't even know where to start.
They don't know what questions to ask.
They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know what's available. They don't even know if it's okay to ask questions. Yes. Oh, okay, good, 5 minutes.
Okay, well,
yes.
I have a question. So I'm at a university, and we've been told which AI bots we may use, which is disconcerting because we're at a higher ed situation, and we know the students are already spanning the entirety of AI bots that are out there. So what are your thoughts on I heard something about cohesive approach by a system to one. That's not what higher ed is about. Higher ed is about going beyond that high school notion of, right? So anyway, what are your thoughts on that?
So I would say our system has done the same thing, and it's very difficult, like you said, especially with the library databases, because we can't control when the vendors add AI tools to be searched, and and it's labeled natural language, and so I don't know that we are able to honestly control that. I think we can give like a list of tools. Here's some guidelines, the ones that we recommend that you use. But if you stray from that, I mean, how can we police that? I don't know. So.
Yeah, Gemini this past fall gave a free student membership for a year, right? So you can use the Gemini Pro version for free for a year, but you had to put in a credit card. How many students are going to forget and get charged, right? And that's a whole different story. But the idea is like Gemini is being offered for free, and I'm sure that Claude and ChatGPT are going to jump onto this eventually. And so like our university, just to answer your question, like how are we doing it? We're saying, you know, we have an agreement with Gemini so that faculty and staff have this. Copilot is built into Word products, so we have access to a pared down version of that. Those are the two that we say we support or we offer, but you can use any of them. So we don't restrict use, but we offer kind of like, here's the ones that we just happen to have agreements with based on their willingness to work with us. But I think, you know, it's hard to say, hey, go pay for this. But you can only get so much with the free version too. So it's kind of, our people are gonna, you know, they're going to hit their cap on one and go to the next, and then they're going to hit their cap on that if they're using only free version. So it's hard to create that cohesion. Yeah.
This question is primarily for Amanda, given your unique background. We know that students are becoming more antisocial, that there are higher rates of anxiety and depression. A lot of that stems from the technology that's already embedded in our society. Have you thought about the impact of AI? I know it's a train that's sort of moving down the track. Don't get me wrong, I think it'll bring amazing things, but I also have grave concerns about how it will be implemented. From a social emotional standpoint, what advice would you give other educators?
That's something that I see a lot, and I also think that the kids that are in high school right now, you know, we've had the last 5 or 6 years have been also something that none of us could have predicted, and has been a source of creating change in our kids that is different than we've had to address in the past. The social media is a driver, as far as I'm concerned, with a lot of what's going on with the kids. They are completely overwhelmed, and they don't have a lot of, if the parents aren't able to regulate their own system, if they're not able to be centered for themselves, to show them that the world is safe, then the kids don't have the feeling of safety. In the end, it's all that they're looking for, in my opinion, is they're looking for a way to stabilize where they feel safe in their environment, safe in what the world is going to be bringing for us, and for them, you know, like in 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, even if they're graduating and going into college, and then we're asking them, what do you want to do? Their job may not even exist right now. So it's really, I think, the most important thing that we can do for kids today is to be the model for our kids, that it's safe and that the world is still wonderful and beautiful, and it's up to us as kids to use our imagination to connect even with AI. How can, you know, encourage kids to figure out what you're passionate about and put those things together, like, you know, the different animals with the giraffe head and the body of an elephant, and create something new, because I feel that's going to be the innovative approach for business, is creating something completely different than what any of us know. And that's what these kids are, you know, they're like diamonds. They're being put under a lot of pressure, but they're going to create something brilliant. I know they will. They're beautiful, and they're very adaptive. But to support them, I think the best thing we can do is give them tools to regulate their nervous system so that they feel confident in their own individuality. And
Can I add one quick thing? I know we have to wrap, I'm sorry. Think of the one analogy is like looking at who has an app to order food? Right? Do you do it for convenience, or do you do it for the fact that, like, I don't want to talk to people, right? There's a certain element of that. So going through that thought process and investigating that, I think might give you a little bit of insight into why people are turning to AI. Is it convenience, or is it not having to ask someone else a question about it?
So we are out of time. Many of us could share. No. Oh, totally. And so.
Yes, strong mind.
Yeah.
Strong body, strong mind.
Exactly, and if we start with the base of essential needs, that's a whole other thing that we all know as educators that we can build upon. So thank you so much. We could share a lot. Many of us would love to connect and get your ideas, because so much more can be said than this moment. This is talking about preparing our youth and our future leaders and our current leaders.